The first security guard had already closed his hand around Lucy Bennett's arm when Enzo Ricci entered the hospital corridor. Everything stopped. The shouting, the hurried footsteps, even the quiet mechanical rhythm coming from the private recovery room behind them seemed to fade beneath the weight of his arrival. Rain darkened the shoulders of his black coat. Two armed men followed him through the sliding glass doors, but neither of them needed to announce who he was. Everyone in Chicago knew Enzo Ricci. They knew about the ships that entered his harbors after midnight. They knew about the judges who returned his calls before they returned calls from the mayor. They knew that men who betrayed him often disappeared from their own lives without leaving enough evidence for a funeral. Yet Enzo did not look at the guards. He looked at Lucy. Her pale blue nurse uniform was wrinkled. A strand of brown hair had fallen across her face. Her chest rose and fell as she struggled to control her breathing. One of her hands was stained with medication from the emergency syringe she had used minutes earlier. The other still held a small plastic evidence bag containing a white tablet. Serena Vale stood several feet away in a silver evening gown. Her perfect hair had begun to loosen around her face. Serena pointed at Lucy. "Remove her now. She nearly killed Elena." Lucy pulled her arm away from the guard. "I saved her." Serena gave a cold laugh. "You ignored direct instructions. You interfered with her treatment. You caused a public scene during our engagement celebration." The guard reached for Lucy again. Enzo spoke before his hand touched her. "Do not touch her." His voice was calm. That made the warning worse. The guard immediately stepped back. Serena moved toward Enzo. "Thank God you are here. This woman has been behaving irrationally. Your mother collapsed because Lucy gave her the wrong medication." Enzo continued watching Lucy. His expression revealed nothing. But Lucy could see the danger gathering behind his eyes. He had spent weeks questioning her decisions, watching her, testing her. Now his mother was fighting for her life behind a locked hospital door. Lucy knew that one wrong answer could destroy her. Enzo approached her slowly. "What happened?" Lucy held up the evidence bag. "Someone replaced the medication in your mother's bottle." Serena shook her head. "That is absurd." Lucy ignored her. "The bottle was labeled as a heart medication, but this tablet has a different imprint. It reacts badly with another drug your mother takes. One dose could cause dizziness and breathing problems. Repeated doses could stop her heart." Enzo looked at the tablet. "How do you know it was replaced?" "Because I counted every tablet this morning. I photographed them. These are not the same pills." Serena stepped closer. "She is lying to protect herself." Lucy finally faced her. "Then explain why the original medication was hidden inside your private dressing room." The color disappeared from Serena's face. Enzo noticed. So did everyone else. The hospital corridor fell silent again. Lucy reached into her pocket and removed a second evidence bag. Inside it was a prescription bottle wrapped in a white silk handkerchief embroidered with the initials SV. Serena stared at it. "That is not mine." Lucy looked directly at Enzo. "Your mother woke up long enough to tell me where to look." For several seconds, Enzo did not move. Then he turned towards Serena. She tried to step back. He caught her left hand. Not violently, not gently. He looked down at the large diamond ring he had placed there 6 months earlier. The engagement had ended a war between two powerful families. That ring represented ships, casinos, political influence, and millions of dollars in shared territory. Enzo pulled it from her finger. Serena gasped. "Enzo, listen to me." He placed the ring in his coat pocket. "You will never enter my family home again." Fear replaced Serena's outrage. "You cannot do this here." "I just did. Our families have an agreement. The agreement ended when you tried to murder my mother." Serena glanced at the guards, but none of them moved to help her. Enzo stepped between Serena and Lucy. It was a simple movement. It felt like a declaration of war. Lucy had no idea that the truth inside that hospital corridor had begun 3 weeks earlier. On a rainy morning, when she had entered the Ricci mansion for what she believed would be an ordinary private nursing assignment, she had been wrong about almost everything. The Ricci mansion stood above Lake Michigan, behind iron gates and rows of black trees. Lucy watched it appear through the rain-streaked window of the car. The house was built from gray stone and dark glass. It had the size of a hotel but none of the warmth. Security cameras followed the vehicle along the curved driveway. The driver did not speak. Lucy was accustomed to uncomfortable silence. She had worked in private homes where wealthy families treated nurses like furniture. She had cared for retired politicians, lonely business owners, and one famous actress who believed every headache was evidence of a secret assassination plot. The Ricci assignment paid more than all of them. It also required a background investigation that examined her finances, medical history, former relationships, and every address where she had lived since college. Lucy had almost rejected the offer. Then she remembered the roof of her small apartment building, the medical bills left after her father died, and the rehabilitation clinic where 3 nurses were expected to do the work of 12. 6 weeks inside, a mansion seemed manageable. The front door opened before she reached it. A tall man in a dark suit checked her identification and searched her nursing bag. Lucy folded her arms. "Are you planning to check inside my shoes too?" The man did not smile. If necessary. A woman appeared behind him. She had silver hair, sharp eyes, and the straight posture of someone who had managed powerful households for many years. "That will be enough. Paolo." "I am Rosa Moretti." Lucy shook her hand. "Lucy Bennett." Rosa glanced at the bags beside her. "You travel lightly." "I am a nurse, not a visiting queen." Something close to amusement touched Rosa's face. "That attitude may help you here." She led Lucy through a marble entrance hall. The mansion was beautiful, but it felt strangely empty. Expensive paintings covered the walls. Fresh flowers stood on polished tables. Armed men waited near every door. No one spoke louder than necessary. Rosa explained that Elena Ricci had suffered what the family doctors described as a minor stroke 2 months earlier. Her recovery had been inconsistent. Some days she could walk with help. On other days, she could barely remain awake. 2 private nurses had already resigned. Why? Rosa paused at the bottom of a wide staircase. One was frightened by the security. The other became too interested in the private affairs of the family. And which one disappeared? Rosa studied her. "You have been reading stories about the Rixes. Chicago reads stories about the Riccis. Most of those stories are written by people who want attention." That was not an answer. Rosa continued upstairs. "You will care for Mrs. Ricci. You will follow the medical schedule. You will report anything unusual directly to me." Lucy stopped walking. "I report medical concerns to the physician responsible for her treatment." Rosa turned. "In this house? You will report them to me first." "No." The word echoed through the hallway. 2 guards looked toward them. Lucy lowered her voice. "If your patient is in danger, I will contact the doctor before I ask permission from a housekeeper." Rosa did not look offended. She looked impressed. A man spoke from the balcony above them. "She is not a housekeeper." Lucy looked up. Enzo Ricci stood beside the railing. He wore a charcoal suit without a tie. His dark hair was combed away from his face. There was nothing dramatic about his posture. Yet the entire hallway seemed to reorganize itself around him. Lucy had seen photographs of him. The photographs had failed to capture his stillness. Powerful men often performed power. They raised their voices, displayed expensive watches, or made everyone wait for their attention. Enzo did none of those things. He looked at Lucy as if he had already learned every fact about her and was deciding which fact might become useful. Rosa inclined her head. "Mr. Ricci." Enzo descended the staircase. Lucy had the uncomfortable feeling that he was measuring the distance between them. Rosa has protected this family since before I was born. You will show her respect. Lucy held his gaze. Respect is not the same as obedience. One of the guards shifted behind her. Enzo stopped 2 steps away. Most people understand that difference after they leave this house. Is that a threat? It is information. Then here is information for you. Your mother is my patient. While I am responsible for her, medical decisions belong to me and her physician. Not your guards. Not your staff. Not even you. The silence became almost unbearable. Rosa watched Enzo carefully. Lucy wondered whether she had just ended the shortest private nursing assignment in American history. Then Enzo moved aside. My mother is waiting. Elena Ricci was sitting near the windows of a large bedroom overlooking the lake. She looked smaller than Lucy had expected. A cream blanket covered her legs. Her silver hair had been brushed carefully. But her face showed the exhaustion of someone whose body no longer obeyed her without negotiation. Lucy approached slowly. Mrs. Ricci. My name is Lucy Bennett. Elena looked at her nursing uniform. Another one. Another nurse, another person my son has paid to watch me breathe. Lucy placed her bag on the table. I also watch people swallow pills, complain about physical therapy, and pretend they are asleep when they do not want to exercise. Elena studied her. You are not frightened of him. I have known several difficult men. My son is not difficult. No, he is dangerous. Lucy glanced toward the doorway. Enzo was still there. He offered no reaction. Lucy checked Elena's blood pressure, pulse, and oxygen level. She reviewed the medication list, then compared it to the bottles inside a locked drawer. One bottle had been prescribed only 5 days earlier. Who changed the dosage of her beta blocker? Enzo answered from the doorway. Dr. Marrow. Why? Her blood pressure increased at night. Lucy turned toward him. According to these records, it decreased at night. The room became quiet. Enzo approached the table. Are you certain? Lucy showed him the chart? Either the written dosage is wrong, or the treatment was changed for a reason that was not documented. Elena closed her eyes. Dr. Marrow has cared for me for 20 years. Lucy looked at her. Then he will not be offended when I ask him to explain. Enzo's gaze remained on the chart. Lucy sensed something behind his silence. Not surprise. Recognition. He had been waiting for someone else to notice. During the following days, Lucy learned that the Ricci mansion functioned like a country with its own laws. Breakfast arrived at 7. Security shifts changed at 8. Business visitors entered through the eastern doors. Family visitors entered through the west. Certain rooms remained locked at all times. Lucy was permitted to walk through the gardens, the kitchen, and the private wing where Elena lived. She was not permitted near Enzo's study. She was not permitted to leave the property without a driver. She was never alone. Elena resisted her exercises during the morning and demanded them again at midnight. She complained about the bland food, secretly fed pieces of toast to the dog, and remembered the names of every guard's children. Lucy began to understand why the staff loved her. She also began to understand why Enzo frightened them. He rarely raised his voice. He did not need to. One evening, Lucy was helping Elena walk across the bedroom when shouting came from the floor below. Elena tightened her hand around Lucy's arm. Do not stop. Lucy heard a door slam. A man begged Enzo to listen. Enzo answered too quietly for Lucy to understand. The begging stopped. Several minutes later, black vehicles left the mansion. Lucy guided Elena toward the chair. What happened? Elena sat down carefully. A man made the mistake of believing my son would forgive betrayal. Does he? No. Lucy looked toward the open bedroom door. Elena noticed. He was not always this cold. What changed him? Too many funerals. Before Lucy could ask another question, a woman entered without knocking. Serena Vale wore a fitted white dress and carried a shopping bag from an expensive boutique. She was beautiful in the polished, deliberate way that made people step aside before she reached them. Her smile disappeared when she saw Elena holding Lucy's arm. "You are walking without the physical therapist." Lucy helped Elena sit. She requested an extra session. Serena placed the shopping bag on the bed. She should not be making requests. She should be following the schedule. Elena looked tired. "Good evening to you too, Serena." Serena kissed the air beside her cheek. "I brought the dress for the engagement celebration." The tailor adjusted it. Lucy checked Elena's pulse. Serena watched her. "Is that necessary right now?" "Yes." Serena's eyes moved slowly over Lucy's body. "The uniform is very tight." Lucy continued counting the pulse. "It fits. There are standards for private staff in this house." Elena spoke before Lucy could respond. "There were standards for guests once too." Serena smiled without warmth. "I am not a guest. I will be Enzo's wife." The words changed the room. Lucy did not know why. She had known Enzo was engaged. His relationship with Serena appeared in business magazines and society photographs. Their wedding was expected to unite two of the most influential families in the city. Still, hearing Serena say it inside the quiet bedroom produced a strange pressure in Lucy's chest. Serena moved closer. "You may go now. I need to speak privately with my future mother." Lucy looked at Elena. Elena had become tense. Her fingers gripped the blanket. Lucy stayed where she was. "I will leave when Mrs. Ricci asks me to leave." Serena's smile vanished. "I am asking you. You are not my patient. You are an employee. I am a licensed medical professional." Serena glanced toward Lucy's waist. The distinction must be comforting. Lucy understood the insult. She had heard versions of it for most of her life. People saw her round face, soft arms, and full figure before they saw her qualifications. Some patients assumed she lacked discipline. Some doctors spoke to thinner nurses, while Lucy stood beside them, holding the correct answer. She had learned that defending herself against every cruel person allowed them to control too much of her day. Lucy met Serena's eyes. "Mrs. Ricci's pulse increased when you entered the room." Serena stared at her. "Perhaps that is the medical problem we should discuss." Elena covered a laugh with a cough. Serena picked up the shopping bag. "This house will change after the wedding." She left without saying goodbye. That night, Lucy found Enzo in the kitchen. It was nearly 1 a.m. Rain tapped against the windows. The mansion was silent except for the low hum of the refrigerator. Enzo stood near the counter, pouring coffee. His suit jacket was gone. The sleeves of his white shirt were folded to his forearms. Lucy opened a cabinet. "You drink coffee at this hour." "I do not sleep much." "That explains your personality." Enzo looked at her. Lucy found a box of tea. "Your fiancé insulted me today." "I heard." "Of course you did." "There were cameras in the hallway." "There are cameras everywhere." Lucy turned. "Inside your mother's bedroom." "No." She watched him carefully. "Why not? My mother would shoot them." Lucy believed that. She filled the kettle. "Are you going to speak to Serena about what?" Lucy laughed once in disbelief. "About the way she treats your staff." "Serena does not consider you staff." That did not sound better. "She considers you temporary." Lucy faced him. "I am temporary. Cruelty is still cruelty when the victim eventually leaves." Enzo placed his cup on the counter. "What do you want me to do? You are the most feared man in this house. Use your imagination." His gaze moved across her face. "Most people ask me to control my imagination. I am not most people." "No." The answer was too quiet. The kettle began to whistle. Lucy reached for it at the same time Enzo did. Their hands nearly touched. He stopped before his fingers reached hers. For one strange second, neither of them moved. Lucy could feel the warmth of his hand without contact. She noticed the small scar across his knuckle and the controlled tension in his wrist. Enzo stepped back. She poured the water. "Why did the other nurses leave, I told you? Rosa told me stories designed for visitors. I am asking you." Enzo leaned against the counter. "The first nurse received threats. From whom, we do not know. The second nurse stole copies of my mother's medical records. Why? We do not know that either." Lucy placed the tea bag in her cup. "You have many expensive guards for a man who knows very little." His eyes hardened. "Be careful. There you are." "Who?" "The man everyone warned me about." He moved closer. Lucy remained still. Although every instinct told her to create distance, Enzo stopped directly in front of her. "You are inside a home where people have died for knowing less than you are trying to learn. Then perhaps you should stop hiding information from the person responsible for keeping your mother alive." The space between them seemed to shrink. His eyes dropped briefly to her mouth. Then the expression disappeared. Enzo stepped away. "Check the new medication again tomorrow." Lucy looked at him. "You suspect something. Good night, Miss Bennett." He left the kitchen before she could stop him. The following afternoon, Lucy examined every medication bottle in Elena's room. She recorded tablet numbers, manufacturer codes, expiration dates, and dosage instructions. She photographed each pill beside a ruler. Everything appeared correct. Then she found a small mark on the cap of the beta blocker bottle. A shallow scratch. Lucy opened a new bottle from the locked supply cabinet. It had the same scratch. Someone had opened both bottles with the same tool. Rosa entered while Lucy was holding them beneath the lamp. "Is something wrong? Where are these medications delivered?" "Dr. Marrow's clinic sends them directly." "Who receives them? Usually me." "Usually Serena received the last delivery because I was away from the house." Lucy looked at her. "Did Serena bring it directly to this room?" Rosa hesitated. "She left it with a guard." "Which guard?" Rosa's expression changed. "I will find out." That evening, the guard was gone. Enzo claimed he had been transferred. Lucy did not believe him. She found Enzo inside the mansion library. He was speaking quietly with a man beside the fireplace. The conversation ended when she entered. The other man left through a side door. Lucy placed the 2 medication bottles on Enzo's desk. The caps were opened by the same object. He looked at them. "That proves nothing. It proves someone handled medication that should have remained sealed." "You are making an assumption." "I am making an observation. You are the one refusing to explain why a guard disappeared 6 hours after I asked about him." Enzo stood. "He was not transferred." "I know. He sold information about the household, to whom we are still asking." Lucy stared at him. "Is he alive?" Enzo's face revealed nothing. "Do you truly want that answer?" Her stomach tightened. She looked away first. Enzo came around the desk. "Someone has been watching the medical wing. Why, I do not know. That is becoming your favorite sentence." He placed one hand on the desk beside her. "You should leave the mansion." Lucy turned back toward him. "Are you firing me? I am protecting you." "From what?" "From becoming useful to my enemies." She searched his expression. "What happened to your mother was not a stroke." "Was it?" A muscle moved in his jaw. "Her symptoms were unusual." "You knew." "I suspected. And you hired me without telling me that someone may have tried to poison my patient?" "If I had told you, would you have accepted the position?" "No. That is why I did not tell you." Anger burned through her fear. "You manipulated me. I investigated you. That is not a denial. You discovered counterfeit heart medication at St. Joseph Medical Center 3 years ago. You documented the changes, testified against the supplier, and refused a settlement when they tried to silence you." Lucy stared at him. "That case was sealed." "Nothing is sealed from me." She stepped away. You did not hire me because of my nursing experience. You hired me because you believed someone was replacing medication again. I hired you because you notice what other people miss. You used me as bait, his silence answered. Lucy slapped him. The sound cracked through the library. 2 guards entered immediately. Enzo lifted one hand without taking his eyes from Lucy. Leave. The guards disappeared. Lucy's palm burned. I could have been killed. I would not have allowed that. You cannot promise that. I can promise more than most men. That is the problem. You think power makes every decision yours. He looked at her with controlled fury. In my world, hesitation buries people. In my world, patients die when powerful men hide medical information. Neither of them moved. Lucy expected him to threaten her. Instead, Enzo touched the side of his face where she had struck him. No one has done that since I was 16. Maybe people should do it more often. Something changed in his eyes. Not softness, fascination. You will remain here until I know who received the guard's information. That sounds like imprisonment. Call it security. I call it whatever I choose. Enzo stepped closer. Then call it the reason you remain alive. Lucy hated the fear that entered her chest. She hated even more that some part of her believed him. Forced proximity changed the rhythm of the mansion. Enzo assigned 2 guards to remain near Lucy. They followed her to Elena's room. They waited outside the kitchen. They stood beside the garden doors when she walked in the rain. Lucy complained for 2 days. Enzo ignored every complaint. On the 3rd morning, a package arrived, addressed to her. Inside, it was a photograph of Lucy leaving her apartment building 1 week before she entered the Ricci mansion. A red line had been drawn across her throat. Beneath the photograph was a single sentence. Stop counting the pills. Enzo found her staring at it inside the security room. His expression did not change. His hands did. They closed slowly at his sides. Who touched the package? Paolo answered. It passed through the delivery entrance. We are reviewing the cameras. Enzo looked at Lucy. You will not leave the property. She handed him the photograph. That was already your rule. Now it is not negotiable. I have a sister in Milwaukee. We will place security near her. She does not know anything about this. She will not need to know. Lucy stepped closer to him. This is my family. And the person threatening you attacked mine first. Enzo's voice became colder. That makes it my concern. Lucy wanted to argue. Then she noticed the way he held the photograph. Not like evidence, like a personal insult. Enzo turned to Paolo. Find everyone who handled this. Lucy touched his sleeve. Do not hurt an innocent person because of me. His gaze dropped to her hand. She removed it quickly. Enzo looked back at her. Then help me find the guilty one. That night, he moved Lucy into a bedroom beside his private suite. She stood in the doorway while guards carried her bags inside. Absolutely not. Enzo continued reading a message on his phone. This room has reinforced windows and a private alarm. My room downstairs has a lock. A lock stops honest people. Lucy lowered her voice. Your fiancé is going to love this arrangement. Serena does not decide security procedures. Does she decide anything? The question made him look up. The wedding is a business agreement. That is a romantic answer. I did not offer romance. Lucy studied him. Does Serena know that? She knows what the marriage provides. Money. She has money. Power. Her family has power. Then what does she want from you? Enzo looked toward the dark window. Access. To what? Everything. He walked away before Lucy could ask more. Serena arrived the next afternoon. She found Lucy leaving the private wing with a tray of medical supplies. Serena stopped in the center of the hallway. Why are your belongings upstairs? Lucy continued walking. Ask Enzo. Serena blocked her path. I am asking you. He changed my room for security reasons. Security against what? Someone sent me a threat. Serena's expression remained perfectly controlled. How unfortunate. Lucy watched her closely. Most people would ask, what kind of threat? I assume dramatic women receive dramatic messages. Lucy felt anger rise. Move. Serena took the tray from her hands and placed it on a table. You appear confused about your position. Lucy reached for the tray. Serena moved it farther away. My position is beside your future mother when she needs medical care. Your position ends when I say it ends. Only Elena or Enzo can dismiss me. Serena stepped closer. Do not mistake temporary attention for importance. Enzo investigates anything unfamiliar. At this moment, that is you. Lucy forced herself not to react. Serena smiled. He will become bored. I am not trying to entertain him. No. You are trying to make him see you. Lucy felt the words, find the small, hidden place where her attraction to Enzo had begun growing against her judgment. Serena noticed. Her smile widened. You think because he watches you? He wants you. I think you should move away from my supplies. Women like you always imagine kindness where powerful men feel curiosity. Lucy met her eyes. Women like me. Serena's gaze moved over her body. Women who spend their lives waiting for someone to choose them. The cruelty was precise. Lucy had heard laughter behind her in school hallways. She had watched men flirt with her friends while asking Lucy for advice. She had endured relatives suggesting that her intelligence and humor would matter more after she lost weight. She had spent years teaching herself that being chosen was not the same as being valuable. Still, Serena's words hurt. Lucy picked up the tray. I stopped waiting a long time ago. She walked around Serena. At the end of the hallway, Enzo stood near the stairs. Lucy did not know how much he had heard. His face gave her no answer. That evening, Serena did not join the family for dinner. Enzo entered Elena's room while Lucy was helping her prepare for sleep. Elena looked at him. You upset your future wife. Enzo adjusted the blanket across her knees. Serena is frequently upset. She insulted Lucy. I know. Lucy arranged the medications on the table. Your house has excellent surveillance but terrible privacy. Enzo watched her hands. What did she say? It does not matter. Elena answered for her. She said women like Lucy spend their lives waiting to be chosen. Enzo became still. Lucy glanced at Elena. I could have answered. You did answer. I am telling my son because he should understand the woman he intends to marry. Enzo looked at Lucy. Were you waiting for what? To be chosen. Lucy held his gaze. Not by you. The answer created a charged silence. Elena looked between them and smiled faintly. I think I am suddenly tired. Lucy checked the time. You said you wanted to finish the chapter in your book. Tomorrow. Elena closed her eyes with suspicious determination. Lucy gathered the empty water glass. Enzo followed her into the hallway. She closed the bedroom door. He spoke quietly. Serena will apologize. I do not need a forced apology. Then what do you need? For you to stop asking that question as though every problem can be solved with an order. He leaned closer. Most can. Not this one. Lucy began walking toward the stairs. Enzo caught her wrist. The contact sent a sharp awareness through both of them. He released her immediately. Lucy turned. His eyes dropped to the place where his fingers had been. There was a faint bruise on her skin from the guard who had grabbed her near the security room when the threatening package arrived. Enzo lifted his hand. His fingers almost touched the bruise. He stopped. Who did that? It was an accident. Who? Lucy felt the restrained violence in his voice. She stepped back. This is exactly what I mean. You do not protect people. You take ownership of every injury around you. Is there a difference? Yes. Explain it. Protection asks what someone needs. Possession decides for them. Enzo looked at her as if no one had ever offered that distinction. Then tell me what you need. The question sounded different now. Lucy's anger weakened. I need you to trust me with the truth. Enzo looked toward his mother's door. My father died 7 years ago. Everyone believed a rival family ordered the attack. 3 months before he died. He developed the same symptoms my mother has now. Lucy felt cold. You think the deaths are connected? I think someone inside this family helped kill him. And now they are trying to kill Elena. Yes. Why? Enzo's eyes returned to hers. My mother knows where my father hid records that could destroy several people. Does she remember? Some days. Lucy thought about Elena's inconsistent confusion, the medication changes, and the way Serena had controlled access to the medical deliveries. Who knows about the records? Enzo's voice became quiet. Only the person searching for them. 2 days later, Elena asked Lucy to take her into the old chapel behind the mansion. The chapel had not been used for years. Dust covered the wooden pews. Candle holders stood empty near the altar. A stained glass window filled the room with blue and red light. Elena walked with a cane while Lucy supported her other arm. I was married here. It is beautiful. My husband hated churches. Why did he marry here? Because I wanted it. Lucy smiled. That sounds familiar. Elena sat in the front pew. The effort had exhausted her. After several minutes, she looked toward a statue beside the altar. Serena wants the harbor keys. Lucy frowned. What keys? Not keys for doors. Elena pressed a hand against her forehead. Shipping codes, accounts, names, payments, the records Enzo mentioned. Elena stared at her. He told you only that records exist. Then he trusts you more than he admits. Lucy looked away. Enzo trusts no one. That is what frightened men call caution. The chapel door moved behind them. Lucy turned quickly. No one was there. She helped Elena stand. We should go back. Elena caught her hand. The angel carries the confession. Lucy looked toward the statue. What does that mean? Elena's eyes lost focus. The angel carries the confession. Her knees weakened. Lucy supported her before she fell. When Lucy looked toward the chapel entrance again, she saw a shadow moving through the garden. Someone had been listening. Enzo searched the grounds. His men found footprints near the chapel wall. But heavy rain erased the trail before it reached the trees. He was furious that Lucy had taken Elena outside without additional security. Lucy was furious that he blamed her. They argued inside his study while thunder shook the windows. You knew the chapel was outside the protected camera line. I did not know your family chapel required armed guards. You should have called me. Your mother wanted fresh air. Not a military operation. Someone was watching you. Someone is always watching me in this house. Enzo moved around the desk. This is not a game. I know that. Then stop behaving as though you are invincible. Lucy stared at him. You are the only person here who behaves that way. Lightning filled the room with white light. Enzo stopped in front of her. You received a photograph with a threat. You found evidence that someone manipulated my mother's medication. Today, a stranger followed you into an empty chapel. I did not see anyone inside. You saw a shadow. Yes, that is enough. His control broke for half a second. I cannot protect you when you refuse to understand the danger. Lucy's voice softened. Why does that frighten you so much? Enzo did not answer. The storm continued around the mansion. She could hear his breathing. His hand lifted toward her face. For one suspended moment, Lucy believed he would touch her. His fingers stopped near her cheek. Then he closed his hand and lowered it. You are under my protection. That is not an answer. It is the only one I have. He walked out of the study. Lucy stood alone while the thunder rolled across the lake. The engagement celebration took place 4 nights later. Hundreds of white candles filled the Ricci ballroom. Musicians played beneath crystal chandeliers. Politicians, businessmen, judges, and members of several powerful families arrived in black vehicles. Elena had insisted on attending. Lucy helped her dress in a deep blue gown. She checked every medication twice and placed the emergency supplies inside a small bag. Before they left the bedroom, Elena touched her hand. "Wear the green dress." Lucy frowned. "What green dress?" "The one Rosa placed in your room." "I am working tonight. You are attending beside me. I have a uniform. You will make Serena unhappy." "That does not sound medically necessary." "It is necessary for me." The dress waited on Lucy's bed. It was dark green, elegant, and fitted to her curves without attempting to hide them. Lucy almost refused. Then she remembered Serena's voice. Women who spend their lives waiting for someone to choose them. Lucy put on the dress because she chose it, not because Enzo might see her. She repeated that explanation several times. It became less convincing when she entered the ballroom and found him watching her from across the room. Enzo stood beside Serena beneath a wall of white roses. His black tuxedo made him look colder than usual. Serena wore silver and diamonds. People moved between them. But Enzo's attention remained on Lucy. It was not polite attention. It was not curiosity. His gaze traveled slowly from her face to the green dress, then returned to her eyes. The room seemed to vanish. Lucy forgot the music. She forgot the guests. She remembered his hand stopping beside her cheek during the storm. Serena followed his gaze. Her smile tightened. Elena leaned toward Lucy. "Now the evening is interesting." Lucy helped her toward a table. Enzo approached before they reached it. He looked at his mother. "Are you tired?" "Not yet." His eyes returned to Lucy. That dress was not part of the nursing uniform. Lucy lifted her chin. "Your mother ordered it." Elena smiled. "I have excellent judgment." Enzo offered his hand to Lucy. "Dance with me." She stared at him. "I am here to monitor your mother. Rosa is beside her." Lucy looked at Serena. She was watching from near the flowers. "This is a bad idea. Most decisions involving me are bad ideas. That may be the first honest warning you have given me." His hand remained extended. Everyone nearby had begun watching. Lucy placed her hand in his. Enzo led her onto the dance floor. He kept a formal distance between them, but his hand rested at her waist. The warmth of his palm traveled through the fabric. Lucy could feel every eye in the ballroom, especially Serena's. "You are using me to upset her." Enzo guided Lucy through a slow turn. "Serena does not require help becoming upset. Then why are we dancing? Because you walked into the room and I forgot what I was supposed to be doing?" Lucy's breath caught. Enzo looked as though he regretted speaking. She searched his face. "Was that almost a compliment? Do not become confident." Too late. For the first time, she saw the smallest hint of amusement in his eyes. Then Elena's glass fell from the table. It shattered across the marble floor. Lucy pulled away from Enzo. Elena gripped the edge of her chair. Her lips had lost color. Lucy reached her first. "Mrs. Ricci." "Look at me." Elena struggled to breathe. The ballroom erupted into movement. Lucy checked her pulse. It was dangerously slow. She opened the emergency bag. Serena pushed through the guests. "What did you give her?" Lucy removed a syringe. "Move back." Serena grabbed her arm. "Do not touch her." Lucy pulled free. "Call an ambulance now." Enzo ordered the musicians to stop. His guards cleared the area around the table. Lucy administered the emergency medication. Elena's eyes closed. Lucy opened the bottle from the medical bag and examined the remaining pills. The imprint was wrong. Her blood turned cold. "These are not her pills." Serena stared at her. "You prepared that bottle." "Someone replaced them after I prepared it." "That is impossible." Lucy looked at Enzo. The medication was inside my locked room. Enzo's expression changed. Only a few people had access to the private floor. Serena stepped closer. She is trying to protect herself. She made a mistake, and now she is blaming this family. Lucy continued supporting Elena. I need oxygen. A guard brought the emergency tank. Serena shouted toward security. Remove her. No one moved. She pointed at Lucy. She poisoned Elena. Get her away from this family. 2 guards approached. Lucy placed herself between them and Elena. I am not leaving her. Serena grabbed the medical bag and threw it across the floor. Bottles scattered beneath the tables. Guests moved back in shock. Lucy stared at her. What are you doing, exposing you? Serena raised her hand as if she intended to strike Lucy. Enzo caught her wrist. The entire ballroom became silent. He looked at Serena with an expression Lucy had never seen before. Not anger. Contempt. Do not touch her. Serena tried to pull away. She is destroying our celebration. My mother cannot breathe. The ambulance arrived minutes later. Lucy rode beside Elena. Serena arrived at the hospital before Enzo. While doctors treated Elena, Lucy searched through the scattered items recovered from the ballroom. One of the pill bottles had a fragment of white silk caught beneath the cap. The silk matched Serena's handkerchief. When Elena regained consciousness for several seconds, she whispered 2 words. Silver room. Lucy remembered Serena's private dressing room at the mansion. It was decorated entirely in silver and white. Lucy called Rosa. Search the lowest drawer beneath Serena's mirror. Rosa found the original medication wrapped inside the embroidered handkerchief. That was when Serena ordered security to remove Lucy from the hospital. That was when Enzo arrived. That was when he took Serena's ring. But the broken engagement was not the end of the danger. It was the beginning of the war. Serena's father, Victor Valle, withdrew his men from the Ricci ports before sunrise. 2 shipping warehouses burned that morning. No one died, but the message was clear. The alliance was over. Enzo moved Lucy and Elena to a private medical residence overlooking the lake. Guards surrounded every entrance. Dr. Marrow disappeared before the police could question him. Lucy sat beside Elena's bed through the night. Enzo remained outside the room. He did not enter. At 3 in the morning, Lucy found him sitting alone in the hospital corridor. The powerful Enzo Ricci looked exhausted. His hands were folded between his knees. His coat lay beside him. There was dried rainwater on his shoes. Lucy sat several seats away. Her heart rhythm is stable. Enzo nodded. She asked for you. He did not move. Lucy studied him. Are you afraid to see her? His eyes lifted. I am not afraid of anything. That is not true. He looked toward Elena's door. My father was awake when I reached the hospital. He tried to tell me who betrayed him. I thought there would be time after the surgery. There was not. Lucy's anger toward him softened. You believe your mother knows the same name? Yes. And if she dies before telling you, you will blame yourself. I should have ended the engagement when she first warned me about Serena. Why did you not? Because marrying Serena prevented a war. Lucy looked through the window toward the dark lake. Now you have the war anyway. Enzo turned toward her. I would make the same decision again. Removing the ring, stopping them from taking you. Lucy held his gaze. You did not choose me. You chose the truth. His voice became quieter. I chose both. The words remained between them. Enzo reached toward her hand. He stopped before touching it. Lucy remembered every interrupted moment. Every time he had almost allowed himself to become human. This time, she closed the distance. She placed her hand over his. Enzo looked down at their joined hands as if the simple contact were more dangerous than any weapon. He turned his palm upward and held her fingers. For several minutes, neither of them spoke. Then Elena's monitor sounded inside the room. Both of them stood immediately. The alarm was caused by a loose sensor. Elena opened her eyes when Enzo approached the bed. You finally came in. He sat beside her. I was outside. You are always outside. Elena looked at Lucy, then back at him. The angel carries the confession. Enzo frowned. What angel? The chapel. Lucy moved closer. The statue beside the altar. Elena nodded weakly. Your father hid the records inside it. Enzo called Paolo. Before they could leave for the mansion, every light in the medical residence went out. Emergency lights filled the hallway with red. Gunfire sounded outside. The guards moved instantly. Enzo pulled Lucy behind him. Stay beside my mother. What is happening? The backup generator failed. Another shot broke a window at the far end of the hallway. Enzo pressed a firearm into Paolo's hand and ordered the guards to secure the stairwell. Lucy looked at him. You are leaving. I am closing the entrance. You said to stay together. I said you would remain protected. He touched her face for the first time. His palm rested against her cheek. The contact was brief, but the fear in his eyes was unmistakable. Lock the door behind me. Enzo entered the dark hallway. Lucy locked the recovery room. She moved Elena's bed away from the windows and checked the emergency oxygen. Elena watched her. He loves you. Lucy nearly dropped the oxygen mask. He barely trusts me. For my son, those are almost the same thing. A figure appeared behind the frosted glass panel in the door. Lucy held her breath. Someone knocked 3 times. Paolo's voice came from the hallway. Miss Bennett. Open the door. Lucy reached for the lock. Then she stopped. Paolo always called her Lucy. The man outside knocked again. Open the door. Lucy moved toward the emergency alarm. The glass shattered. A gloved hand reached through and unlocked the door. Lucy pushed Elena's bed toward the second exit. A masked man entered. Lucy threw the metal instrument tray at him. It struck his shoulder. She opened the service door and pushed Elena into the laundry corridor. The man followed. Lucy pulled a fire extinguisher from the wall and released a cloud of white powder into his face. He stumbled. She pushed the bed faster. At the end of the corridor, Enzo appeared through the smoke. He fired once toward the ceiling. The masked man froze. Enzo crossed the distance and forced him to the floor. His guards arrived seconds later. Enzo looked at Lucy. Are you hurt? No. He checked her arms, her face, and her shoulders, as if he did not trust the answer. Elena lifted her head from the bed. I am also here. Enzo closed his eyes for 1 second. Then he leaned down and kissed his mother's forehead. They captured the attacker alive. He worked for Victor Vale. The attack convinced Enzo that the medical residence was no longer secure. He moved Elena, Lucy, and several trusted guards to a hidden house near the Wisconsin border. Snow began falling during the drive. The safe house stood among pine trees beside a frozen lake. It was smaller than the mansion, but cameras and reinforced doors made it more secure. For the first time, Lucy saw Enzo without an army of servants around him. He cooked badly. He slept even less than before. Every night, he sat outside Elena's room until Lucy finished checking her vital signs. One night, Lucy found him attempting to make soup. The smell filled the kitchen with evidence of failure. What did the vegetables do to deserve this? Enzo turned off the stove. Rosa usually cooks. That is clear. Lucy took the wooden spoon from him. Sit down. I do not take orders in my house. Then continue poisoning the soup. He sat. Lucy added broth and adjusted the heat. Enzo watched her move around the kitchen. You are comfortable here. I am comfortable in kitchens. Why? People are honest when they are hungry. He considered that. Are you hungry? Always. His eyes moved briefly across her figure. Lucy pointed the spoon at him. Choose your next words carefully. I was going to say I admire that. That may be worse. Enzo almost smiled. The quiet moment frightened Lucy more than their arguments. It felt like a life they could never have. A kitchen, snow outside, his mother sleeping safely down the hall. No guards rushing through doors, no blood agreements, no dangerous families deciding who had to marry whom. Enzo stood and approached her. Lucy lowered the spoon. He stopped close enough that she could feel his warmth. I should have told you why I hired you. Yes. I should have removed Serena from my home the first time she insulted you. Yes. I should not have watched your apartment before you came to the mansion. Lucy became still. What? The air changed. Enzo looked toward the hallway. Before I hired you, I had you followed. For how long? 6 weeks. You watched my home. My men watched the building. Did they take photographs? His silence gave her the answer. Lucy stepped away. Where are they? Enzo did not respond quickly enough. She left the kitchen and searched the room he used as an office. A locked drawer stood beneath the desk. Enzo followed her. Lucy, open it. There are files connected to the investigation. Open it. He entered a code. Inside the drawer was a folder with her name. Lucy placed it on the desk. Photographs covered the first pages. Lucy leaving work. Lucy buying groceries. Lucy visiting her father's grave. Lucy standing at her apartment window late at night. She stared at the final image. It had been taken through the glass. You watched me inside my home. I needed to know whether you had contact with the Vale family. You could have asked me. People lie. So you decided to violate my privacy. I decided to keep my mother alive. Lucy looked at the photographs again. Was any of it real? Enzo's expression hardened. What? The kitchen. The dance. The way you looked at me outside your mother's room. Everything involving you became real. After you created the situation, I did not create this. He reached toward her. She moved away. Do not. Enzo stopped. Lucy closed the folder. You did not protect me. You studied me until you decided I belonged close enough to control. That is not what happened. Then tell me what happened. His voice lowered. I looked at those photographs long after I knew you were innocent. The admission made her heart ache. Why? Because knowing where you were became the only thing that allowed me to breathe. Lucy stared at him. That is not love. Enzo. I did not say it was. It is obsession. Yes. His honesty frightened her. Enzo took one step closer. I know the time you wake up. I know you drink tea when you are angry and coffee when you are afraid. I know you touch the chain around your neck when you miss your father. I know you pretend Serena's words do not hurt you. I know I should let you leave this house. But every part of me rejects the thought of a world where I cannot find you. Lucy's eyes burned. You do not get to make that sound romantic. I know. You should be sorry. I am. Then why do you sound angry? Because being sorry does not make me capable of losing you. Lucy left the office. She remained at the safe house only because Elena still needed her. For 2 days. She spoke to Enzo only about medical decisions. He did not pressure her. He did not apologize again. The silence between them became more painful than their arguments. On the 3rd morning, Elena's condition improved enough to walk through the living room with help. Lucy prepared to return to Chicago. Enzo found her placing clothes into a suitcase. You cannot leave yet. Your mother is stable. Rosa and the medical team can take over. The Vale family is searching for you. That danger exists because of you. His face tightened. I know. Lucy closed the suitcase. I cannot stay beside a man who confuses fear with devotion. Enzo stood near the door. What would devotion look like to you, Trust? He absorbed the answer. Then he moved aside. Lucy expected him to stop her. He did not. Paolo drove her toward Chicago with 2 security vehicles following behind. They had traveled for less than an hour when Lucy received a message from her sister's number. A photograph showed her sister outside a Milwaukee coffee shop. A second message appeared. Come alone to St. Michael's Church, or she disappears. Lucy tried calling. No answer. She ordered Paolo to change direction. He refused. Mr. Ricci said, we return directly to Chicago. My sister is in danger. Paolo reached for his phone. Lucy grabbed the steering wheel. The vehicle swerved. Paolo stopped at the side of the road. Lucy showed him the message. He called Enzo. No one answered. The signal disappeared. A truck struck the rear security vehicle. Paolo drew his weapon. Another vehicle blocked the road ahead. Men surrounded them. Lucy understood too late that the message had been designed to separate her from the safe house. The last thing she saw before a cloth covered her face was Paolo fighting to reach her. Lucy woke inside an abandoned church. Rain struck the broken stained glass windows. Her hands were bound to a wooden chair near the altar. Serena stood beneath the damaged statue of an angel. She wore a black coat. The engagement ring was no longer on her hand. You always did look more natural in cheap places. Lucy tested the rope around her wrists. Where is my sister, safe at home? The photograph was taken yesterday. Relief weakened Lucy for a moment. Serena approached. Enzo destroyed 20 years of peace because of you. He ended the engagement because you tried to kill his mother. I delayed her recovery. You replaced medication that could have stopped her heart. Serena's face hardened. Elena was supposed to become confused enough to reveal where the records were hidden. Dr. Marrow miscalculated the interaction. And when I discovered it, you became inconvenient. Lucy looked toward the dark entrance. Enzo will find me. A strange smile appeared on Serena's face. That is the purpose. A man stepped from behind the altar. Marco Ricci was the younger brother of Enzo's father. Lucy had seen him twice at the mansion. He had seemed charming, affectionate, and harmless. Now he carried Elena's silver rosary. Lucy understood. You betrayed Enzo's father. Marco smiled. His brother intended to remove him from the family business. Marco had assisted the Vale family in eliminating him before that could happen. The medical records were not the only evidence. The confession inside the angel contained recordings, account numbers, and names. Serena looked at Lucy. Enzo will bring them to us. Why would he? Because we have you. Lucy forced herself to remain calm. He will not trade his empire for a nurse. Serena's expression twisted. You still do not understand what he has become. Headlights appeared through the broken windows. Black vehicles surrounded the church. Serena moved behind Lucy and pressed a weapon against the side of her chair. The doors opened. Enzo entered alone. Rain covered his black coat. He carried a small metal case. Marco pointed his weapon at him. Leave yours on the floor. Enzo placed his firearm beside the door. His eyes found Lucy. Every controlled part of him seemed to fracture when he saw her bound to the chair. Are you hurt? Lucy shook her head. Serena laughed quietly. You came quickly. Enzo looked at her. Release Lucy. The records first. He placed the metal case in the center aisle. Marco moved toward it. Enzo stopped him with a look. Release her. Serena pressed the weapon closer to Lucy. The ports belong to the Vale family. You will sign control of the northern routes to my father. You will also announce that Elena replaced her own medication because of confusion. Enzo did not hesitate. Agreed. Lucy stared at him. No. His eyes remained on her. You are not giving them anything. Enzo spoke calmly. The ports are buildings. The routes are lines on maps. People will die if Victor controls them. People die every day. His voice changed. There is only one you. The words broke something inside Lucy. Serena looked furious. You never looked at me that way. Enzo finally turned toward her. You never gave me a reason. Marco opened the metal case. It was empty. Enzo moved at the same moment. The church windows shattered inward as his men entered from both sides. Marco fired. Enzo turned his body toward Lucy. The bullet struck his shoulder. He staggered but remained standing. Lucy pushed the chair backward into Serena. The weapon fell from her hand. Paolo reached them and cut Lucy's restraints. Enzo forced Marco to the floor near the altar. The fighting ended quickly. Serena tried to escape through the side door. But Rosa stood outside with 2 guards. Lucy ran toward Enzo. Blood darkened the shoulder of his coat. But the wound did not appear fatal. He looked at her wrists. "Did they hurt you? You were shot? Answer me." "I am fine." Only then did Enzo allow Paolo to support him. Marco laughed from the floor. "You traded everything for her." Enzo looked at Lucy. "No." He pressed one hand against his injured shoulder. "I finally understood what everything meant. The hidden case from the chapel had never contained the original records. Enzo had copied them before arriving. The evidence connected Marco, Dr. Mero, Victor Valle, and several city officials to years of criminal payments and the death of Enzo's father. Enzo delivered the files to federal investigators through an attorney who owed Elena his life. Victor Valle was arrested while attempting to leave the country. Dr. Mero was found hiding in a hotel near the Canadian border. Marco and Serena were taken into custody. Enzo could have arranged their deaths. Instead, he allowed the evidence to destroy them publicly. Lucy understood what that choice cost him. Fear had built the Ricci empire. Justice required him to surrender part of that fear. Enzo recovered at the safe house. Lucy cleaned the wound and changed the bandages. But she refused to allow the injury to erase what he had done before. One evening, he sat near the window while snow covered the frozen lake. Lucy finished checking his shoulder. "You will regain full movement." Enzo looked at her. "Are you leaving?" "Yes." His face revealed nothing. "When tomorrow?" He nodded once. Lucy waited for an order. None came. "You are not going to stop me. You asked for trust. That does not mean silence." "I know." He stood slowly. "Every instinct I have tells me to lock the doors, remove every road from the map, and keep you where no one can reach you." Lucy looked at him. "That sounds like the old Enzo." "It is the old Enzo." He stepped closer. "The difference is that I no longer believe wanting something gives me the right to take it." Her anger weakened. He reached into his pocket and placed a key on the table. "What is that? Your apartment?" "You entered my apartment again?" "No. I replaced the damaged lock after the Vail men searched it. The lease is still yours. No guards will remain unless you ask for them." Lucy looked at the key. Enzo continued. "The photographs were destroyed. Every copy. Thank you." He looked toward the snow. "I do not know how to become the man you need." Lucy's voice softened. "Then stop trying to become him overnight." His eyes returned to her. "What should I do?" "Tell the truth when it makes you uncomfortable. Ask instead of ordering. Learn that protecting someone does not mean deciding their life." Enzo absorbed each word. "Will you come back?" The question was quiet. "Not as your prisoner. Never again. Not as your employee." Lucy's heart began beating faster. Then, as what Enzo reached toward her hand, he stopped before touching it. He waited. Lucy placed her fingers in his. "As someone who wants to discover whether you can change," months passed. The Ricci mansion changed slowly. The armed guards remained, but the silence became less oppressive. Elena recovered enough to walk through the gardens with a cane. She ended every physical therapy session by claiming Lucy had invented new exercises to torture her. Lucy returned to the rehabilitation clinic 3 days each week. She cared for Elena on the others. She refused the salary Enzo first offered and negotiated a fair contract herself. Enzo complained that the number was too low. Lucy increased it until he stopped complaining. Their relationship did not become easy. Enzo remained controlling. Lucy remained willing to challenge him. They argued about security, business dinners, and the fact that Enzo believed 6 cars were necessary for a visit to the grocery store. He reduced the number to 3. Lucy called it progress. He called it recklessness. Yet he began telling her the truth. He told her where he went at night. He told her when he was afraid. He told her about his father, the years of anger, and the guilt he carried for failing to understand Elena's warnings. Lucy told him about the loneliness she hid behind humor. She told him how Serena's insults had reopened old wounds. She told him she did not want to be loved because someone considered her different from other women. She wanted to be loved without comparison. Enzo listened. Then he proved that he understood. He never told Lucy she was beautiful despite her size. He told her she was beautiful when she entered a room. He told her she was beautiful when she argued with him. He told her she was beautiful when she laughed so loudly that his guards looked confused. One winter evening, Enzo took her to the restored chapel. The broken windows had been replaced. Hundreds of candles glowed along the aisle. Elena waited near the altar with Rosa. Lucy stopped beside the first pew. "What is this?" Enzo stood before her, in a dark suit. There were no politicians, no mafia families, no photographers. Only the people who had survived the truth with them. Enzo held a small velvet box. Lucy stared at it. That had better not be Serena's ring. Elena laughed from the altar. Enzo opened the box. Inside was a simple diamond, surrounded by small green stones. "It belonged to my grandmother." Lucy looked at him. Enzo did not kneel immediately. "First," he spoke, "I spent most of my life believing love was another name for weakness. Then you walked into my house, challenged every order I gave, protected my mother when my own family failed her, and showed me that devotion is not possession." His voice remained steady, but Lucy could see emotion beneath it. "You taught me that protecting you means giving you the freedom to leave." He lowered himself onto one knee. "I am asking you to stay." Lucy's eyes filled with tears. Enzo held the ring between his fingers. "Lucy Bennett, will you marry me?" She looked at Elena. The older woman was already crying. Rosa placed a hand on her shoulder. Lucy looked back at the man kneeling before her. The feared mafia boss who had once investigated her like a threat. The lonely son who had sat outside his mother's hospital room because he was afraid to enter. The dangerous man who had offered his empire for her life. The imperfect man who was learning that love could not be commanded. Lucy smiled. "Yes." Enzo slid the ring onto her finger. Then he stood and waited. He did not pull her toward him. He did not claim the kiss as his reward. Lucy placed her hands against his face and kissed him beneath the stained glass angel that had once carried a confession. Outside, snow fell across the dark gardens. Black vehicles waited beyond the gates, and dangerous men continued whispering the Ricci name throughout Chicago. The world had not become safe. Enzo had not become harmless. But inside the candlelit chapel, his hands rested gently at Lucy's waist, not as a cage, not as a command, as a promise. Elena leaned toward Rosa. "I chose the dress." "You know," Rosa smiled. "Of course you did." Lucy laughed against Enzo's shoulder. He looked down at her. "What is funny? Your mother believes she planned all of this." Enzo glanced toward Elena. She probably did. He held Lucy's hand as they walked out of the chapel together. For the first time in his life, Enzo Ricci did not lead. He walked beside the woman he loved. And when the doors opened to the falling snow, Lucy understood that she had never needed a powerful man to choose her. She had chosen herself long before she entered the Ricci mansion. That was precisely why Enzo had fallen to his knees.